Begin with a salute to the flag and a moment of silence, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Talty?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Here.
Ms. Cusinelli? Mr. Panucci?
Here.
Ms. Suter?
Here.
Mr. Reed?
Here.
Ms. Cantilla?
Here. Mr. Edwards?
The New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend meetings of public bodies which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this Act, the Brick Township Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be posted on the Administration Office Bulletin Board, the official district website, and Channel BTV 20, and sent to the Asbury Park Press, the Brick Times, the Star Ledger, and Municipal Clerk's Office.
Thank you, Mr. Edwards. For approval of minutes, I need a motion and a second.
Make a motion.
Thank you,
Second.
Mr. Panucci. Thank you, Mr. Conti. Are there any questions on these minutes? Seeing none. Mrs. Carey?
Mr. Talty?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Mr. Panucci?
Yes.
Ms. Suter?
Yes.
Mr. Reed?
Yes.
Ms. Cantilla?
Yes. I think in an effort to save time tonight with such a long agenda, we're going to forego our committee reports and spare everybody. Dr. Uzinski, do you have a superintendent's report?
Yes, Ms. Cantilla, thank you. I would like to publicly thank the custodians, the building supervisors, the principals for getting the schools ready. I know that it's a tough time in the summertime with everyone trying to get in vacations and all, but without their diligence of putting these buildings back together. So I publicly want to thank all of our custodial grounds, maintenance, Mr. Lyman, who's here, that Mr. Roger Riddell, and Joe Coutant for all the times that we're dragging him out. But I publicly want to thank each and every one of you for getting our buildings ready for our teachers and our students. So I thank you. And I'd also like to congratulate Mr. Panucci for accepting the appointment of ex officio member of the Executive Committee of the New Jersey State Interscholastic Athletic Association, representing New Jersey school boards for us. So, Mr. Panucci, congratulations. And that's it for now, Madam President.
Thank you, Dr. Uzinski. Curriculum and instruction, Dr. Morgan.
Thank you, Ms. Cantello. The superintendent recommends that the board approve the following items. Number 1.
Well, thank you very much. Do I have a motion and a second?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Mrs. Suter.
Seconded.
Thank you, Mr. Talty. Are there any questions from board members? Seeing none, any questions from the public? Mr. Finelli? We're starting the evening off early. Yes, we are.
Can't hear. Excuse me, Madam President. Can't hear him.
Can't hear him.
Microphone working? Is that working? Can you just check?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
No.
I think it's still dead, yeah.
I'll speak louder.
Okay.
That's good.
In the past, there used to be a lot more information on field trips, like how many buses, what the cost was, and everything else. I noticed looking at this one, none of that information is there. Is there a reason for that?
So,
Mr. Edwards?
Lorraine does it.
Hi, good evening, Mr. Finelli. We've normally put the, as you already, I'm sure, reviewed, we put the grade and the number of teachers and parents and such, and the date and the destination. Are you...
Used to put cost, how many buses, things like that.
Okay.
My question is, if that information isn't there, does the school board have more information than the public gets? So do they know what they're approving?
Well, normally, if normally there's, unless it's a specific item, normally there isn't a cost per pupil. And if there is, it's on the form, and usually there's either fundraising or something that occurs. Are you asking that we take a look at that?
Well, I'm asking why you took it off in the first place.
Oh, I'm sorry that when we started to do the field trips, this was the format that was shared.
I guess my question is, I have a specific request. If you're approving these field trips and you only have the same information as I have, there's one there that involves 60 students, 3 teachers, and 25 parents going to Orlando, Florida. Well, my question would be, how much does that cost and who's paying?
No, Mr. Finelli, we do have more information. I wasn't exactly sure what you were referring to. We do have more information on that, and that is paid for by their team's parents club. I wasn't,
only if it-
I'm sorry, I wasn't quite sure what you were referring to.
So my question still is, the information came off and we put it back on.
We put the cost on there, didn't we?
Yeah, I mean,
That's not a problem.
If it
Yes,
costs the board, it goes on. Ma'am.
Yeah.
If it costs the board money, it goes on there. If there's no cost to the board, we don't put it on there. There's no cost to anyone. They're doing it on their own. I don't think that's changed. Mr. Edwards, is there a change in something?
I know, I have to say that I have to go back and research this, Dr. Yazinski, that I know what Mr. Finelli is referring to. Unfortunately, I've not been the one, I don't prepare this report, so I don't know how the costs were arrived at and why it was removed and when it was removed. I don't know any of that. I don't, this report doesn't come out of my office, it comes through Dr. Morgan's office.
There used to be a cost on there.
If it costs the board, it'll go on. If it doesn't cost the board, it won't go on. I think that would be the easiest way to explain it, because if there's no cost, there's no cost. So if there isn't any cost to it, it won't be on it, but if there is, and we'll revisit that and make sure that that's what the board wants. Yeah.
but if it's not a cost to the district, if it isn't a cost to the district, there wouldn't be anything on the agenda. If it's being subsidized by the band parents club, for instance, the example that you're giving, we wouldn't put it on there as a cost because it's not a cost to us. Whatever they do privately, all of the different sports teams have booster clubs and parents clubs that raise funds for them. Whatever they do, that wouldn't be something that we would have
Yeah.
knowledge of.
So in other words,
It's totally separate.
if it's a cost to the board, that's on there. Larry wants something.
Mr. Reed?
I think it's a good idea that we should have it on there if we've had it on there before. Some of these trips are scheduled as class trips in the regular routes of the bus drivers on their daily routes. So we have quite a few routes that show class trips every day. So a lot of those would be covered. A lot of these are special ed trips that are daily. So I think it would be a good idea if we did attach costs where it's outside of the regular runs for the bus drivers, so that we know how much we're adding to the transportation costs for class trips.
Okay, that's...
Well, we've been doing that.
Right, what we were saying, Mr. Reed,
not
was
on
that if
here.
it doesn't, if it's not a cost to the Board of Ed, if it's not a cost to the district, we wouldn't put it on there. If somebody else was paying for it, like the band parents club, we wouldn't put the cost of the trip on there, because all of the costs associated with that trip would have been negotiated by the band parents club. Do you know what I mean? If it's something that we're doing, that we're paying for, we would have it on there. Like Mr. Finelli said, it's been on there in the past when we've paid for it. So that's what we're saying. If it's a cost associated with the board, we would certainly put it on there. Is that what you're referring to?
Well, we're trying to come up with a composite schedule of all the overtime, all the extra runs for the transportation department, and these are obviously, if there's more than one class trip, on a given day, we don't have enough runs to cover those, we need to know how much it's going to cost. Extra, overtime. And that's, it should be on this list.
Okay. Any other questions? Seeing none, Mrs. Carey?
Mr. Talty?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Mr. Panucci?
Yes.
Ms. Sudar?
Yes.
Mr. Reed?
Yes.
Ms. Cantillo?
Yes. Moving on to operations, Mr. Edwards?
Yes, thank you, Ms. Cantillo. The superintendent recommends that the board approve items 1 through 25.
Do I have a motion and a second for items 1 through 25?
Motion for items number 1 through 25.
Thank you, Mr. Talty. And
second.
second, Mr. Panucci, thank you. Do I have any questions from board members on these items?
I have a question.
Mrs. Sudar?
On number 11, specifically the YCS George Washington, there's a contract there, and then on number 13, it terminates. Can you explain that? It terminates that same contract.
The YCS contract, Mrs. Sudar, is a ratification because a student did attend there at the beginning of the school year, and the termination that you're seeing is that the student then stopped going.
Okay, so we can't just have a contract from the time that he went there. You need to have a full school year, and then you need to terminate it.
Yeah, it's
that
just
how it
the
works?
timing of how they came in. The
Okay.
contract came in with a full school year on it, and we put it on the agenda, and then the termination letter followed it.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Talty, did you have a question?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Through the chair, Ms. Edwards, items number 2 and 3, it shows that they were updated on the 25th. What was updated? Because I went on there, I couldn't tell what was updated.
Prior to the 25th, Mr. Talty, nothing was there. So if you went to items 2 and 3 on, when the agenda was released to the Board of Education, there was no attachments on there. So we actually put the attachments on the 25th.
Okay, so why didn't we just put them on? Because it was a little misleading when I looked at it and it says updated. That would mean to me there was some change made.
Well, the change was that there was no attachments, and now the attachments were added.
Okay.
Mr. Talty, do you have any other questions?
Not on that particular one.
Okay. Do I have any questions from the public?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, Mr. Kite.
You do? Okay.
I do have one. I noticed that Mr. Edwards, I noticed that we are being asked to reject the bid for the milk, because we only got one bid in. Well, we also only got one bid on the ice cream and the bread. So why are we not being asked to reject those bids?
The other bids are within budget, Mr. Talty, so in order to reject a bid, there has to be a reason for rejection. And so, even though a reason for rejection can't be that you only received one bid. The cafeteria milk bid, you're right, we only had one bid, but it also exceeded budget. So we're rejecting that bid because it exceeds budget.
Okay, but,
The others are within budget.
okay, well, I'm not going to go into any more detail. There was some other reasons, I'm not going to... Are you looking into that? About why we're...
Mr. Talty, can you speak into the microphone? I can't hear you.
Oh, are you looking into why we're only getting one bid on a lot of these items?
I'm not sure that I understand completely what you're referring to. I mean, we got one bid on these items. We have, Mrs. Richardson has discussed this matter with the Department of Agriculture. As I expressed these at the Finance Committee meeting, we would have, there appears that bidders are becoming territorial.
Yeah, that's a
But
concern.
without conclusive evidence, Mr. Talty, and they all have signed affidavits saying that there is no collusion. So every one of these bids contain a non-collusion affidavit. So without any proof that some type of collusion occurred where vendors are deciding not to bid in certain territories so that other bidders have exclusivity in that area, there's not much more that we can do at that point. You know, you'd have to have some type of proof that says, you know, that you know, I'll go back in time here. I'm going to say probably 10 years ago, there was some school bus contractors who some things were happening where only certain vendors were bidding on certain districts, and there was a tip made that there was a recorded conversation where these vendors got together at a certain restaurant and agreed that they were only going to event, and it was on tape, and that tape was turned into the FBI, and those vendors, people that were associated with them, were arrested for collusion. We don't have any evidence of any of that. We have bidders, in certain cases, one bid for a certain item, and it's within budget, so, you know, and they've all signed non-collusion affidavits.
In previous years, did we only get one bid, or did we get more than one bid?
In certain circumstances, we only received one, correct.
Which ones did we get just one on, the last, say, 3 years?
I would have to go back and research that, Mr. Talty. I don't...
Okay, could you get that information for me?
Sure, we can look at that.
I'd like to know. The only other question is on number 25. The DCF revised contract, updated 8/25. Same question. I guess you just put it on the 25th.
The attachment and the agenda item were added on the 25th.
Okay, so it was revised, so that meant that there was a change.
Yeah, at the end.
Yes.
In the future, would it be possible that anytime we get changes in a contract that we highlight it, so that everybody doesn't have to go through everything and just waste time going through time when they could just see if there was a change, that it was highlighted so we could see what the change was?
Sure, we can add that.
Just like we do here, when we update something or something, we put it in so that it jumps out at you. So can we do that?
Yes.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Anyone up? Mr. Reed?
Yeah, I would have covered the milk situation in the minutes for the Finance Committee meeting. Basically, the bid that we had came in 5 cents more per pint than the prior year and would have cost another $25,000 over the course of the year in expense. When Janine Richardson, our food service manager, looked into it, we were getting milk deliveries every day, whereas some other districts were getting deliveries twice a week. So what we decided to do is go back to the vendor and see what the price would be if we did get deliveries twice a week instead of every day. They agreed to lower the cost if that was the case. Since we needed milk to start in September, we have to reject the whole year's contract, just do a purchase order for September, and then a revised contract for the remainder of the year. But the issue of vendors only bidding territorially is an issue for all of us. The only thing I can say is they get around it on the milk because they provide milk cooling refrigerators at each school, and since they provide it, they claim that they don't want to come in and have to replace, another vendor doesn't want to come in and replace all the coolers, so this is a way they get around it, in my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reed, for clearing that up. Anyone else have any questions? I'll open it up to the public. Anyone with questions on items 1 through 25? Seeing none, Mrs. Carey?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Mr. Panucci?
Yes.
Ms. Sudar?
Yes.
Mr. Reed?
Yes.
Ms. Cantilla?
Yes. Moving on to Human Resources, Dr. Caldez.
Thank you, Mrs. Cantillo. Tonight, the superintendent recommends that the board approves items number 1 through 26.
Thank you, Dr. Caldez. Do I have a motion and a second for items 1 through 26?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Reed.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Panucci. Anyone have any questions on these? Mrs. Sudar?
On number 12, I didn't see the confidential secretary or the systems analyst application on there. Am I missing something?
Their application or their resume?
Oh, we usually get the application, like the application they filled out on Apple Chat.
Not if they're in-house. They may have said that if they're an in-house candidate, they would send it directly to us, and they don't do the Apple check.
Okay, because there's no resume on there either.
Well, that's what we just asked, if it's a resume or the other. You said the application, so now you're saying both are not on there?
I don't see it on there.
I don't know.
No, they're not.
Dr. Caldas?
No, they're both, they're not on there.
They're not on there.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion to move the confidential secretary and the systems analyst to the September meeting, so the other board members and I can review it.
Okay, I've got a motion and a second on all of them.
Yep.
And,
I'd like to make a motion to move those two positions to the September meeting, so other board members and I can review the resume.
Well, you got to take a vote at the board.
Well, you need a second. if
You need
you're
a
gonna-
second, and then for the resolution, you have to vote.
Is there a second?
I have a question. So if we move these to September, what happens with the employment?
We don't have anyone covered, and that's for three different sections. It's for HR, it's for educational specialist, and it's for the testing. So it's another weeks that will go by without anyone there. The person has been in the district for a long time.
Do I have a second? No.
And then the motion to hold those items and fail for lack of a second, and you'd go to vote on the items that have been offered.
Anyone else have any other questions on these items?
I'm not done asking my questions.
Excuse me?
I'm not done
Oh, I'm
on
sorry.
those questions. That's okay. Is the systems analyst a new position? Or did somebody resign from that position?
That is to replace Jim Grover, who resigned to take another position in another district.
Was his title system analyst? Was that his title? I thought it was something different.
His title was, it's basic same, I think it's just been updated to be more fitting for what he's doing right now. Technology just wanted to update his title, so it was fitting the work that he is now doing, where the other title was a little vague and ambiguous, so to speak. So they would like to kind of tailor so everybody knows within the department exactly what their specific responsibilities are. People can tell by their titles.
So is he doing the exact same job as Jimmy Grover, just the title changed?
He'll be working on the website, and he'll be, doing the same technology that Jim...
So he has the same job
Same.
description as Jimmy Grover?
Yeah.
Okay. What is number 11? Is that something new?
No, that's something that's always been effective. They get an extra stipend of $320 per staff member for working on the night shift.
Okay, that's what I thought, but I couldn't find it on any past agendas.
Okay.
Okay. On number 5, the leave of absences, since we switched over to the, that new substitute company,
Source for teachers.
yeah, I just want to make sure that any long-term leaves are still, the effort is still made to have one person do the long-term leave to provide the continuity to the students.
Yeah, no problem. Actually, we finished up today filling the slots. What we're doing is we're going by resumes of people who have applied here in the district before. People are on our substitute list. We're using those people who we interviewed this summer that weren't the successful candidate, but giving them an opportunity to demonstrate their wear within the district. So it's not going to be random. It'll be one person. Any long-term, we will make a recommendation, but if it's something that's difficult to find, for example, say last year we had that issue with the physics, they have over 10,000 teachers that work for them, so then we'll reach out to them. But again, if it's a long-term long-term, they will collaborate with us first. They won't just randomly send somebody.
Okay. Okay, I do have, I'm not sure what number it is. There was something in here where there's a science teacher. First semester will be at Brick Township High School, second semester will be at Brick Memorial. What science is he teaching?
He's teaching, well, he will be teaching biology, okay?
In both schools?
He'll teach first semester at Brick Township High School, 3 periods, and then second semester, he'll be at Brick Memorial High School. And also in there, there's
Teaching biology?
Biology. And also in there, there's a recommendation for a extra teaching period for chemistry. Brick Township High School has had a tremendous increase in enrollment in the science this year. So, and whereas Brick Memorial had the extra half a teacher for the biology, so we split, made effective our resource rather than hiring a full teacher, we split them. The individual.
What's the reason for the extra biology? Is that is the
Extra
class?
chemistry.
Well, I know, but there's going to be an extra teacher here first semester, an
Yep.
extra teacher teaching biology.
Okay.
So is there like a
Essentially-
larger enrollment?
Essentially, that teacher was at Brick Memorial all of last year.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're doing, because the numbers are down a little bit in science over there, we're pulling them over here first semester so that we were a little bit cost effective in not hiring a teacher and having smaller class sizes.
Okay, great idea. I also just want to say, on number 4, I was very sorry to see Denise Mara's name on the resignations. It's really sad that she's leaving. She's a wonderful, wonderful person and has dedicated many, many years to this district. Thank you, Mrs. Mara, for all you've done for me, my children, and all of the other children from Drum Point. Now, she was over at registration. She was the face of this district, and she will be sorely, sorely missed. I wish you the very, very best of luck. Thank you.
Anyone else? Mr.
Yes.
Panucci?
Just 2 brief questions. My only concerns were just where the confidential secretary is going, and with the systems analyst, is it the same, he's on here for $60,000. Is it the same salary as the outgoing? There's a little bit of breakage there.
There is a little bit of breakage there. The previous person was making 63, this person will be making 60, the system analysis. The confidential secretary is in the board office, and if you're familiar, there's a open spot right outside my office. This way, it'll be visible to work with the new HR person, myself, and the data tester.
So she's going to be a pooled confidential secretary?
Yep.
Okay, so you don't have to hire 3 more people?
No, one person to do the work.
That's fine. Thank you.
Mr. Reed?
Yes, in the past on these resignations, we had how many years they had worked in the district in the 4th column. I'm wondering if we could add that in future
Absolutely.
meetings.
Yep, absolutely.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board?
Yes, Mrs. Cantilla?
Okay, can't tell.
I'm going to ask him in no regular order. The first one I'm looking at is number 26. I just would like to clarify here that this particular individual on number 26 is starting, it says, as of July 1st through June 30th. Now, the person was there doing that job, and he was a member of the TWU, and I believe he was getting $20 extra per day to do that particular job. Is that correct? Anybody?
He was getting $20 up to June 30th.
June 30th.
Correct.
So July and August. It's my understanding that he has not been paid for the position that he's now being put into.
What we're doing is we're ratifying him back to July 1st. So
Right.
he'll get his back,
To get
the
his back pay. Okay.
Okay?
That's, okay. If we go up to number 13,
What number, Mr. Pulte?
number 13, substitute teacher aides, updated on the 25th. Now, it's my, if I'm not mistaken, they were on there before the 25th. So you put some additional aides on there, correct?
Actually, I think don't quote me, I had to look it up, but we may have taken off people who had resigned.
Okay. because I was looking at it and I couldn't make sense of it. And I don't want to print out something a week ago, then have to compare today or the 25th when you update it. That's why I would like
Make
to...
highlight changes.
Highlight changes, that's the important thing.
You got it.
That's a good question. See, he's new, he doesn't know that we do that.
That's all right now.
Okay. Anyone else? No?
What happened?
Any questions from the public? Yes, ma'am. Could you just come up to the microphone and state your name?
My name is Sue Harris.
Can't hear anything.
The transfer principals up there, did you pass that one?
No. I don't think so. We didn't get
I thought it was up,
No, that's on for, that's
No.
on here.
We're-
Should be on that one.
You're talking about the whole section or a specific number? Oh, no, that's, there.
Aspirational timing is being changed?
Should be on it.
May I ask a question on that one, or is it?
Is that
Personnel.
on this one?
It's on.
Personnel transfer. Yeah, it's good done.
You just take a look. Yes, it's under transfers. It's under transfers.
But I see you scrolling down, so I don't know if I can speak on something on that and ask a question?
Yes, this is the topic that we're on.
Thank you.
That's personnel.
Okay.
I worked at the Primary Learning Center, just retired this past year. It was a privilege to work with Rochelle. I've had a grandchild go to that school. I have 2 more going there. My question is, I went to the dedication when the name of the school was changed to the Warren Angel Elementary School. At that time, which was a wonderful evening to respect, give respect to a gentleman who's been in our district forever, Rochelle was announced as the principal. So here we are, 1 week before school starts. She's being transferred, and last night is my understanding, when I see on the webpage, was the orientation for the kindergarten children. So my question to the board is, what was the rationale behind moving her, and what benefit is it to the children and the staff of that school at this late date?
I can't really go into that, only because it's a personnel issue, and that's a confidential issue. I can't really discuss that in public. Mr. Saradnik, how much can...
You have confidentiality issues for all personnel of the district when there either are transfers or other employment actions taken. So that's something the board does, in their private sections, and then comes out with respect to the action taken. So at this stage, it's on the agenda for action, and in terms of the reasons or the underlying discussions that took place, that's done in private section, really to protect the privacy of the individual employees concerned.
That makes it sound a little bit more different than just moving.
Now, I'm just saying personnel items in general. I do not know the specifics on this item, but generally, personnel items in general are in closed session, and it's done not for the board, but really to protect the privacy of the employees.
But as a mother, grandmother, and former worker of this district, I know what it's like to have a sudden change for the students. And that's what I'm hoping that the board kept in mind when they made this decision. That's all I can answer.
Thank you. Any other questions on items 1 through 26? Mr. Finelli.
One bit from this, when you turn to talk to each other, we can't hear you back.
You can't hear anything on that
I have no
microphone.
idea what Mrs. Sewell was bringing up to the meeting, but you all talk to each other by turning away from the microphone. So, I guess,
Okay.
I want to read a disclaimer first. I have some questions about contracts, and then the contracts that are up there, but they have no way to reflect on people they're about, okay? It's about things that are in the contracts that my questions are, so I don't know these people, and it's no reflection. And when anybody take any offense, then, okay?
Absolutely, Mr. Finelli.
Can they hear in the back?
I'm glad to see that somebody's proofreading the contracts. Because yesterday and before, I read something, and today was something else, so 3 minutes. Just for your information, there's a misspelling error on all the contracts. When you talk about 1/4 or something, it's FOURTH. Not FORTH. They also get FORTH.
I don't think they can hear you in back. Vic, I don't think they can you hear them in back? They can't
I
hear
said the
anything, so
microphone-
you either have to
can't
pick
hear.
the mic up or
I know.
Over here, how's that?
That's better.
better.
Okay? Do personnel days accumulate to sick days?
You're saying personal days?
I mean, I said personnel, I meant personal days.
Some do, yes.
Some do? Okay, I noticed in one of the contracts, when I first read it, my assumption was that it did accumulate. But that was yesterday, I read it today, and that whole paragraph was changed, and it sounded like it doesn't. So why would some get personal days rolled up and others not?
It depends on, Mr. Edwards, you want to answer that?
Well, I assume we're talking about an unaffiliated contract? Like an individual's contract, right?
Suspecting.
So it depends on each contract is negotiated independently, so it's not, the unaffiliated folks who negotiate contracts without a union are not a union, so each contract stands alone.
So then it's up to the school district and the board to decide whether that person can roll up their personal days?
No, it's up to the person's contract, so it'd be negotiated between the superintendent and the person, and then the superintendent recommends to the board.
So then the superintendent says whether they can get personal days rolled up into their sick days. And then the board has to
It's
approve.
negotiated between the superintendent and the person, so each contract is independent. So if the person has requested that to be in their contract, and the superintendent agrees that it's something that should be in their contract, then he has the right to recommend that to the board, yes.
The reason I'm bringing it up is I see some of the accumulated time, and I realize people coming new don't get any accumulated time. Finally got that one fixed. They're rolling up all the other things. I think something we need to fix a little bit. Do we do criminal background checks on all new hires?
Yes, submit it, the fingerprinting goes through the county office, and it'll come through the FBI in the state. We'll get a clearance.
So who does that?
That goes to our Human Resource Department. We send that out.
Because I noticed that was in all the contracts. Why do some of the contracts say that the person gets all the holidays in the school district, and other contracts have a specific number of how many holidays they get?
Mr. Edwards?
One of them says the person gets all the holidays in the school district, and the other one says that the person gets 16 holidays. Which kind of knocks off my chair anyway.
TWU is negotiated.
Is there a reason for that? Is there another negotiating thing?
Mr. Edwards, you want to answer that again, the same way?
It's the same answer, Mr. Finelli. I've had this discussion with others before, that these contracts are not a boilerplate. The individual that you're hiring into them has the right to negotiate terms and conditions of employment. And so you can't look at each contract and say that they're the same, because they're not. It's not a union. You're not negotiating with a union. So, as we have a TWU union who has one contract book, and everyone who works within that union all has the same terms and conditions. These contracts are not union contracts. They're what we consider unaffiliated contracts, meaning they're not affiliated with a union, and therefore every one of the individuals has the right to negotiate with the superintendent terms and conditions of employment. The superintendent then has the right to recommend to the board for approval. So they're not all going to be the same.
How many holidays does the school have?
It varies depending on the school calendar. It varies from year to year, depending on the school calendar.
About 23, I think, this school year, 23.
About 23 holidays.
23 days when the schools were not in session. I think that was the count for this year, this past school year, 13, 14.
Well, if I take that, then somebody went in and said, well, I don't want 23, I only want 16. Doesn't make any sense. I would think there would be some standardization when you're dealing with upper management. There should be some standardization, so you don't have to, end up the taxpayers all
They're not a union, though, Mr. Finelli. You're approaching it from a union approach, which would be everyone should get the same. They're not union members, so that's not how it works.
Well, it could be. People appeal one of them. That's my point.
Again-
I'm going to talk about this at the end of the meeting or something a little different. So, one last question I had on this. And I couldn't hear what Jack was talking about, what information you can give us. So if I ask the same question, it's okay, all right? On the item 25, was this job publicly posted? The resource manager job, was it out to the public?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you over here.
Number 25, was that job open to the public? Was it openly put out there for the world to see? Resource manager?
Yes, that's posted, yes, absolutely.
Okay, could I ask you how many people applied for it and how many you interviewed?
Were you allowed to comment on that?
Yeah, I don't know, I would know the number off the top of my head.
I mean,
Couldn't tell you that. A various number of people, but couldn't tell you, I don't have that. I never counted them and added this. I couldn't give you a number and be realistic. But a number of people applied and a number of people were interviewed. We screen the applicants. If they meet what our needs are and what we're looking for, we bring them in for an interview. There's a screening, there's a whole procedure that goes on, which the board has been given that procedure, so they know what our hiring process is. And there's a paper screening that happens first. We're not going to bring people in just to bring them in. So after we screen those people, if we feel that those are the ones we want to see, that's what we bring in. And we did post it one time. We looked, we interviewed, and we didn't accept any of those, and we sent out again a second interview process. Again, started all over again, and we screened again a second time.
Does the interview?
Group of people. There's-
Roughly how many?
No, we don't count it because it doesn't matter. A number doesn't mean anything to us. We want the person that we're looking to interview. So we want the quality people that we bring in to interview. Whether it's 1, 2, 5, or 10, doesn't matter. It's who we feel after our screening process is excellent and will do a great job for our district. That's who we're looking for. So we screen it to get the best applicant. That's how it goes, not by number.
Okay. Can I ask what the old resource manager is doing?
That's really a personnel issue, Mr. Finelli, that we really shouldn't comment on another employee.
Can I ask if he's still in the district?
Yes.
So if he's still in the district, then we could say, that you argue with me, that if he's still here and you have another one, then this is an incremental position.
He's still here. He is not working in that department, and I really don't want to go into somebody else's employment. He's just not in that department. That's all I really can say about it. You're welcome. Do I have any other questions on items 1 through 26? Seeing none? Mrs. Carey?
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Mr. Panucci?
Yes, just 2 abstentions on number 12, the Pals Club Advisor, Nicole Panucci, and number 18, abstain on Donna Morano. Yes to the rest.
Ms. Suter?
No on number 9, and on number 12, I'm going to abstain from the systems analyst and confidential secretary. Nothing against the candidates. I just don't have any information to base my decision. And I'm going to abstain on number 10. Well, there's no documentation on here.
Excuse me, we cannot have any calling out from the audience, please.
No. No, thank you, though, we appreciate it. It's the same position, same job, same duties, but we understand. Thank you.
Mr. Reed?
Yes.
Yes.
Can I just make a comment, Ms. Cantillo? Sure. Nothing personal. I read everything. I spend a lot of time reading everything, and I just like to see who we're hiring. I have no idea you were in district. I don't really know anything about you, so please don't take offense at that. I just, for my own peace of mind, I'd like to do my due diligence and make sure that I'm making the absolute right decision, and there's nothing on here. So I appreciate you offering to give me your resume, I really do, and best of luck to you. Thank you.
At this time, I'll open up comments for,
Can we welcome everyone that was
oh, yes, I'm sorry, yes.
I would like at this time to welcome the new members of the Brick Township family. I would like to make a comment, though, that as I said at the induction today, that we did hire the best of the best. We are the educators. The superintendent makes the recommendation because we've been in education for a long time, and each and every one of you truly deserve this job. So I welcome you. I look forward to working with you. We all do, and I want to thank you for applying. It's wonderful. And
If everybody can come
would
down,
you
we'd
please
love to
come and
shake
just
your
shake
hand and
hands with the
welcome you.
Board of Education so they could welcome you like we did, and thank you.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Superintendent Brett, great job.
Congratulations.
Good luck.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Good luck. Good luck. Wise choice.
Thank you. Looking forward to it.
Hey, how are you? Good.
Do I have any board members with comments?
Yes, please, just a few. First, to the new teachers that were at the induction today, I'm so glad I got to go this morning and meet all of you. I hope you remember my speech, and if you didn't like it, I hope you forget it immediately. For the rest of the board, September 12th, the Board of Directors meeting for the State School Board Association will be in Trenton. Wednesday, October 1st at 6 p.m. over at Charlie Brown's in Lakewood, the Ocean County School Board Association will be having our fall meeting. And just to do a quick plug, it's raffle time for the Chamber of Commerce Education Foundation. For those of you who know, Rich Lau is here, Mike Conti and myself were on the Chamber Board. This past school year, we gave out $25,000 in scholarships to Brick students. Tickets are for sale again. They're $100 a piece. The Dream Raffle, winner could win up to $10,000. It goes right back to our students. It's our biggest education fundraiser of the year. So if you want, go to the Brick Chamber website, brickchamber.com. You can call the office to buy a ticket or just find me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Panucci. Mr. Reed?
I want to thank everybody for coming out. It's always exciting to see people in the audience making comments. As far as the personnel, you have to keep in mind with teachers and administrators, probably round numbers, about 1,000 people that covers in the district. So you're going to have a lot of movement. People retire, people want to get promoted. The idea that we always going to do things the way we always did them isn't kind of something we really are want to perpetuate in the district. We want to have an outstanding staff of teachers, administrators, all the custodial facilities, bus drivers, and so there's going to be movement. So even though everybody would like to see their favorite principal and favorite teacher stay in the same spot, there will be changes, and it's just part of a large organization that happens. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reed. Mr. Conti, I know you definitely have something to say.
I'm going to be brief, and I'm
Okay.
going to echo a lot of the sentiments from tonight again. It was wonderful to be at the district induction for the new teachers this morning, and it was a very nice ceremony, and hopefully you guys learned a lot during your in-service. I had the benefit of attending kindergarten orientation at Herbertsville Elementary School yesterday, as my son will be starting on September 4th, and I was very excited about that. They told me that the Journeys and math program is very intensive, so it's going to be a great year, so I was excited to see him begin his journey like I did a whole bunch of years ago into kindergarten. So that was a really great experience last night, and I know that those happened all across the district. And again, I just want to echo Doc's comments about the buildings, the grounds, the crews, maintenance, the custodians, everybody that does the painstaking work to get those classrooms prepped and ready to go. I can't thank you enough. The floor is nice and clean, so much so that the chairs stick a little bit there from the shellac. Always to move those around. But thank you again, and best of luck to all the teachers that are going to start on next week for their in-service, and then with the kids on September 4th. Have an absolutely fantastic school year for 14-15, and hopefully we can make it one of the best that Brick has had to date.
Thank you, Mr. Conti. Very concise.
I'll try.
Good. Mrs. Suter?
Thank you. I just wanted to mention two things. One of the things I had in my committee notes was there are a number of local businesses that employ our SLE students. Those are our special education students. They employ them, they pay them, they train them. And I just kind of wanted to mention some of them. There's about 40 of them, so over the next couple of months, I'm going to mention a few. Darla Novick and Tiffany Aguilar are the district's SLE teachers. They go out to these businesses, and they find employment, and they also monitor the students while they're at work. It's a really wonderful, wonderful program. So some of the local businesses that do help us out are Adrenaline Tattoo, Best Buy, Celtric Charms, Horse Farms, Good Hands Daycare, Hands Only Car Wash, Little Giggles, Monmouth and Ocean Food Bank, and Napa Auto. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate all that you do for our kids. Like I said, they learn a skill, they get paid, and they're out socializing and with the public. It's a wonderful, wonderful program. I'd also like to ask that these companies be put on the website every time they changed. I'm sorry? Oh, they already are?
I was just saying, yeah, they are.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see that.
That's
Oh,
okay.
great.
No, listen, they do such a great job. I agree 100%, and I think we should continue to them and thank them, because that is a great community service
Yes.
for our children. So I applaud every one of those companies, and I thank you for bringing it up again.
Okay, great. I'm glad it's on the website. So thank you to those companies. Also to the teachers and administrators. I see Mr. Gerlifson back there. I didn't see you come by. So congratulations. Best of luck to you in your new endeavor. Yeah. You didn't want to make the long trip down the aisle, huh?
And Sumac.
And yes, Miss McNamara didn't come down either. Best of luck to you. I also just want to wish everybody a great school year. I know I'm looking forward to September 4th. My daughter may not be, but I certainly am. So best of luck to everybody, and again, thanks to all of the custodians and the grounds people. You do a great job. Thank you.
Mr. Tolte?
No, I have nothing tonight.
Nothing? Nope. Okay. I have a couple things. First, I'd like to...
I didn't say.
Oh, I'm sorry. First, I would like to congratulate and wish the best of luck to all of our retirees and everyone that has resigned, that is moving on to a different district or different job. On behalf of the board, I'd like to wish the best of luck to everyone. The new teacher induction ceremony this morning was just so invigorating and so exciting. I want to just say, all of you, the best of luck and have a wonderful, wonderful year. I just want to say thank you to Drs. Uzinski, Calvez, and Dr. Morgan. You did a fantastic job. First thing in the morning, I don't know where you get the energy, but you did a great job. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Also, Marianne Early and Sandy Byer did an absolutely wonderful job in putting everything together. A lot of people work in the background. A lot of people do tremendous jobs in this district. We're all a family. And I just can't say enough to everyone, our administrators, our teachers, our custodians, our grounds people, our supervisors, everyone. Thank you on behalf of the board. We are very, very appreciative of everything that you do, and we are looking forward to a very, very successful school year. Thank you very, very much. One other thing. On behalf of the Walk to a Cure for Diabetes, I was given this brochure. There's going to be a Jersey Shore Walk, Sunday, October 19th, Avon by the Sea. Liberty State Park Walk on Saturday, October 25th. We're going to actually put this on our website if you're interested. This is to Walk to Cure Diabetes. Very, very, very good cause. And we're going to put this on the website for future information.
And the schools, too. The schools.
In our schools?
Yes.
Okay. With that, I'm going to ask if there's anybody in the public that would like to make a comment. Mr. Finelli?
I noticed you used the word commenting. After that, still asking questions.
Public comment, I was told.
I forgot to ask one question on the last topic. What is the difference between approving the contract and ratifying the contract?
Approving a contract is doing it in currently. Ratifying is approving something that's already taken place.
Or retroactive?
Yes.
Excuse me?
Retroactive.
Yes.
Has the school district adopted a formal policy in regards to students and teachers texting?
We are in the process of doing that, Mr. Finelli. You were not here last month. I am assuming you were on vacation. Okay. We did a first reading, and we are currently working on it. Mr. Saradnik is doing some research for us. We have several policies that we are comparing and combining and getting input from some of our teachers. We're in the process of finalizing it. We haven't done a second reading yet.
Realize tomorrow is the day.
Well, unfortunately, we can't do anything without legal advice. That's a very, very important policy, and we need some firm guidelines on that.
I don't know whether you're breaking the law or not.
Well, no,
No,
we've approved it on first reading, so we've already started the process.
I have a couple of newspaper articles that I just want to share with you. Maybe you read them with me.
The microphone sounds like it's off.
First one is, well, why are my taxes so high?
Mr. Finelli, I'm going to just say that I'm going to keep it to 5 minutes and only on school business, okay?
Somebody said to do what you...
Okay, okay.
Okay? And I'm not going to go over it, I'm just going to ask you if you read it, and if you didn't read it, I suggest you do read it.
Okay.
And it has to do with New Jersey in general. It talks about schools, it talks about everything. It was in the August 17th, which was a Sunday, right? And it breaks it down on the best articles I've ever seen. It has to do with taxes and expenses and why New Jersey is in the top 5% of everything. Something for you to understand, so you have to know what the impact is.
What date did you say it is?
Date is
Put the microphone by your mouth.
August 17th, Sunday. Now, I'll give this to somebody...
Okay, leave it with me.
Taking it back to me.
Leave it with me.
Okay.
Okay.
Second one is in the same paper, and it says, why is the 2% tax cap? Not a 2% tax cap. Okay? And the third one is, we have here in 5 minutes. Anybody know who Rosemary Jeffries is?
I didn't hear the name?
Rosemary Jeffries, you know who that is?
I don't think so. No.
President of Georgia Gordon University.
Okay.
Right? She did a little work on the paper, right? Which was a topic that we talked about in the past when we went over all the results, right? And the college-ready things. Just for your own information, it's a very short article. Georgia Gordon University dropped their intake by 18% this year. And the reason they dropped it is because they couldn't get enough college-ready students. And I guess way back then, Mr. Campbell brought up the thing about tracking how people do in college, and it's something we want to do. But it's actually an organization that does that. And the organization is the National Center for Education Statistics. Basically, they dropped it 18% because they said they're not getting enough college-ready students. One of the measurements that they did, they took the 2007 class, why go back so far, was because what they were doing was tracking the students and achieving their educational goals in 150% of the time. So if you go into a 4-year school, they give you 6 years to complete the coursework that you can grade, which is 150%, which brings 2007 to 2011 to 2013, and last year they have. I was shocked to find out that only 51% of the students completed their coursework in 150% of the time. So I know we had some discussion about how we measure college ready and whatnot, but I'm not talking about Notre Dame or UCLA or something like that. I'm talking about a school a couple of miles away, cutting back their enrollment because they can't get enough students. And on top of that, I'm sure you're aware that they went co-ed. So now the boys can go to the same school. So when we're looking at all those things and how we're measuring college ready, they're in a little bit of trouble.
Mrs. Cantilla, can I ask Mr. Finelli a question?
I would prefer you not.
Right, okay. All right. Yeah, okay. I will.
Mr. Lau? Yes, okay. I'll make sure that they make a copy. Yep.
Oh, I actually read this one. Did read this one.
Rich Lau, Princeton Avenue. I would say that having reviewed several hundred scholarship applications over the last several years that our students are college ready. I'm sure there's a lot more students that can apply for scholarships. I'm sure I would find that there's a lot more students that consistently thesis are college ready. I did want to comment, without the benefit of the community reports, we haven't had the opportunity to find out how facilities are progressing. I think we know that they're progressing pretty well. I think this year we passed a bond resolution, was it for 11 million?
11.5.
11.5, which will provide, with the help of the state, provide a number of probably 17 million or 16 million projects over the next 5 years.
Approximately, yes.
I guess I was doing some math, and over the last 3 or 4 years, I think that's correct. That brings us probably in the neighborhood of 25 million, 25 to 28 million. Because I remember specifically being on committee 4 years ago where we only wished that we could have $20 to $25 million to spend because we can take care of all the things that we often talked about that were the needs and not the wants. And as I drive around town, and I'm certainly some of the reports that we've seen taking care of a lot of important needs. And I wanted to thank you to the committee, all of you, for doing a fabulous job, because I know that my taxes over the last few years from this room have delivered a zero increase 3 years out of 4. And I haven't gotten my bill yet, but I did review on the township website, and I see that my taxes this year are going to go up $137. Now that was 1.2%, and I'm not going to. That's what I'm saying.
Thank you, Mr. Lau. And I just want to also say one thing to you personally. I know how hard you work for various organizations. I get all the emails, and you seem to be involved in every one of them. I don't know where you find the time to do all of it. But I do want to say thank you for the scholarships that the Chamber provides our students. I know that you gave out in excess of $22,000 last year to our students in that area, and you do a fantastic job, and I just want to tell you thank you.
Just on that topic, I didn't get to do my committee report. Thank you for highlighting a lot of the things we're doing in the district on the facilities. We did replace the doors here at Brick Township High School, and one of the things I wanted to mention is we are going to repaint the outside so that the colors match, so that we don't have a kaleidoscope of greens out there. That's the objective. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reed. Anyone else with a question or comment? Seeing none. I have a couple of dates. September 1st is Labor Day and schools are closed. September 2nd and 3rd is a professional day, staff only, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. September 4th is our first day of school. September 18th is our next regular meeting here at Brick Township High School. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Thank you, Mr.
Second.
Panucci. Mr. Conti? Thank you, Mr. Conti. Mrs. Harry?
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Mr. Panucci?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Reed?
Yes.
Ms. Cantillo?
Yes.